Yes, we should go back to a new regular show review. And if you haven't seen this one, go and check it out. And we're back with the next two episodes of season 6 of regular show. We start with another good one, and it starts with this some sort of contest thing that is going on. And yeah, Eileen actually managed to win this flat screen TV. And yeah, Rigby would actually say that he will actually go and hook up, take the TV to her house because he's got to go to work. And also, he actually says that he'll go and actually hook up the TV as well as a surprise. And yeah, they make it to her house and they see this TV, which apparently it's her roommate's TV. And we see the snow globe as well. And yeah, her roommate is some kind of crazy person because we actually see this flashback of them going to want them to watch this show, but then when they turn on the roommate's girl's TV, she gets angry, and yeah, he has this tool belt, even this whip, which he then breaks that snow globe, and yeah, there we see the montage of them just trying to do everything they can to put the TV on, and yeah, they managed to do it, and of course, Eileen's roommate's TV cord is taking up two spots, and of course the other outlets are all full. Which then he just changes the outlets, and yeah, she gets angry, and she takes the flat screen TV, which even kicks this old man out of the car, and yeah, they even take her TV just to show that if she takes Eileen's, then we're gonna do something to hers. And then yeah, she throws something at the windshield, and they end up crashing, and then they try to talk to this crazy girl lady, and yeah, like again, she is even threatening to throw it off of this bridge, and yeah, she ends up throwing it, but thankfully Rigby saves it, and then that other TV gets destroyed, and yeah, she ends up panicking and screaming, and then this ghost comes out and calls this guy, and apparently she has failed this job, yeah, and having to be taken somewhere, which this guy says that she is going to be put in for as punishment, but otherwise she'll be fine. And yeah, the TV just ends up blowing away like dust. And yeah, Eileen comes home and they surprise her with the TV all hooked up, and she's just all very grateful. And they were saying of how it was Rigby's idea. Yeah, one of the sweetest things that Rigby has ever done. And they've been turning on this news channel, which they're going to go and get some snacks, or get some plates for the pizza that they ordered. And actually, of what it actually shows, which I was very shocked. And yeah, Margaret is actually on the news, reporting on the news. Yep, it ends with us saying Margaret on the news. Like, wow, I was not expect for real. I was not expecting that to say Margaret. And then we go to a really interesting special, 22, like one of those 22-minute like specials. And yeah, with Thomas, which is very crazy, I would say. And it starts with Rigby and Mordecai sleeping, and Rigby starts getting hungry, and he goes to heat up this food, and hears some noises outside, and sees what it looks like Thomas, which it is Thomas that knocks out this guy. And yeah, Rigby is wondering what's going on here, and what is Thomas doing? Was he gets knocked out too? And again, Mordecai then tells Rigby that it's a mating, which yeah, Benson is saying that he is Benson is saying that he's meeting a new girl, and the only jobs for them to do today is to not bother them. And of course, they're very confused what happened to the last girl that he was dating, and yeah, him just getting angry too, and also talking about how they're going to be wanting to surprise Thomas by making him a full time worker instead of not being an intern anymore. And of course, Rigby is just trying to get his hand and tell everybody that of what happened to him last night, and shows of what happened when he got knocked out. And yeah, Thomas comes bringing all this coffee, and yeah, Rigby is just freaking out and even attacking Thomas and saying it's just his laundry. And then yeah, he's just spying on Thomas, and yeah, he's just wondering what he's up to. And yeah, we see Benson with the lady that he was said that he's seeing. And yeah, Rigby going to Muscle Man High Five Ghost and Mordecai and showing these sprinklers that he's been placing and what's odd with them. And then, yeah, we see this guy in the closet or in this pantry, and they're all freaked out. And then we see this CIA agent, and yeah, these other guys are at the door, which they're gonna have to go and get Benson. And they try to look for Benson, and they find Pops and Skips tied up. And yeah, Benson gets handcuffed and knocked to the floor. And yeah, we see the lady that he was with is actually a spy. Yeah, this agent spy, and Thomas that comes in, and him being Nikolai. And I don't know why, but whenever I think of the name Nikolai, as they say on here, it just always reminds me of like Nikolai Carpathia on the Left Behind movies. Like them just saying Nikolai, it always just thinks of that name. You know, the Antichrist on the Left Behind movies. Yeah, just the name Nikolai just reminds me of Nikolai Carpathia. And Rigby just saying of how he was right all along and they didn't believe him. And he tells the story, Thomas or Nikolai tells the story of when he was just left at this place to be fighting in this spy. And again, just very crazy for Thomas. And then them doing this fight and him getting his fake name, Thomas, and yeah, them going undercover and him getting a job at the park and gaining everybody's trust at the park as well. All the wise him just setting up all these traps and for their plan. Which Skips also does mention a pretty good point. Is like, if you've been doing all of this, how come we haven't even figured it out? Known all of this. Which yeah, we see just from different episodes where he was actually working doing all this spy stuff while they weren't around. They weren't around and just doing all these different things as well in past episodes, which is just absolutely crazy, I would say, especially for Thomas. And they're like, Thomas, how could you? Right? Like, they just feel so betrayed. And yeah, those guys just bash the door, and Muscle Man and High Five guys say the others tied and going to this van, and they get this remote control and launching, causing the park. When the police come, they say that the park is being lifted and being driven away to another location. And yeah, Thomas, Nikolai telling them of where they're going to be going. And yeah, then they're driving towards a cliff. And yeah, seeing this guy going over to this president and telling them of what's going on. And yeah, Rigby and the others managing to get untied. And yeah, High Five goes and Muscle Man coming, which they jump. And yeah, the guy just ends up going off the cliff. And yeah, they get the flying car to catch up with the helicopter. And yeah, of course, Thomas Nikolai was not wanting anybody to get hurt. That was not part of the deal. And then they make it over to the helicopter to try to stop him. And yeah, sowing this rocket that's going to be destroying the park. And yeah, everybody in the summit room just all just arguing and with each other. And yeah, again, Thomas did not want any of this to go like it. And yeah, Benson is just angry and tries to stop who he thought he was gonna be in love with, but she ends up hurting his hand and even slapping Thomas as well, like he's gonna like betraying them. and trying to tell him to think about the good memories that he made, and yeah, showing the different things that they managed to do, and yeah, him turning the park around, which then end up fighting, and yeah, so he ends up falling off and getting eaten by a whale, which Benson is still upset, and they're like, she tried to kill us, and he's like, but I thought we could have worked it out, and Thomas saving Rigby, and them stopping the park from hitting the missile. And yeah, they end up getting the park back to normal. And yeah, they're telling Thomas that the job is still open to him, and he's like, "Thanks, but no thanks." But and he's going to be leaving and seeing the sunrise, and yeah, they just see him leave and saying of how they'll always remember him as Thomas. Again, really good episodes here. I'd like to know what y'all think. Let me know, guys. Get to the next one.